There are some streets in every city where the air feels different, where time seems to slow down just enough for something unexpected to happen. This was one of those streets. Narrow. Cracked. The kind of alley that doesn't exist on tourist maps. A corridor of rusted fire escapes, old graffiti, and dumpsters that haven't been moved in years. Above, the last rays of afternoon sunlight filtered between the buildings, casting long shadows that stretched like claws across the pavement. And in the middle of it all, walked a man. Old. Quiet. Alone. He wasn't in a rush. He wasn't lost. He wasn't afraid. He simply walked. One hand held a small brown paper bag, groceries, maybe. The other hung calmly at his side. His skin was dark, his sweater beige, his eyes hidden in shadow. Each step was deliberate, measured, the rhythm of someone who had walked through much worse places before, and come out the other side. He didn't glance behind him. But he knew. He knew he was being followed. Across the street, leaning against a rusted pickup truck, stood 5 men. Young. Athletic. Loud. Fresh from a jiu-jitsu session, still wearing their tight rash guards and compression shorts. Their muscles were pumped, their confidence high, and their respect for others, dangerously low. They laughed when they saw him. Dude looks like he belongs in a retirement home. Think he even knows what day it is. He probably still uses a rotary phone. They weren't just talking trash. They were hunting. They wanted a reaction. A twitch. A flinch. Anything to confirm their favorite belief, that strength belongs to the young, and weakness, to the old. But the man gave them nothing. He didn't walk faster. He didn't look back. He didn't care. And that was the most dangerous part. Because true danger doesn't announce itself. It walks quietly. Confidently. Until it's ready to show you what it really is. The 5 of them exchanged glances. This wasn't just a joke anymore. This was a challenge. One they didn't even realize they were about to lose. He turned the corner, slipping into the narrow alley between 2 apartment buildings. They followed, their sneakers slapping the pavement behind him. Still, he didn't run. Still, he didn't speak. And something about that silence started to feel wrong. But pride has a way of drowning instinct. They pressed on. 5 fighters. 1 old man. Easy math, or so they thought. What none of them knew was that they weren't chasing weakness. They were chasing a storm. One trained for decades in silence. One that didn't need to roar, to destroy everything in its path. But before we uncover what really happened in that alley, let me ask you something real. Have you ever felt like there's something inside you, a force, waiting to be awakened? A voice that whispers, you were meant for more, but you just don't know how to unlock it? That feeling isn't a lie. It's not your imagination. It's real. And right now, thousands of people around the world are tapping into that exact inner power through something called the 369 Manifestation Codes, a powerful system based on Nikola Tesla's most sacred numbers, designed to align your energy, your thoughts, and your reality. People are using these codes to shift their lives, not just spiritually, but physically. Attracting opportunities, clarity, and strength they never believed they had access to. It's not magic. It's mindset. And the tools are already there, waiting for you to use them. So if you're ready to stop reacting and start creating, click the link in the description and unlock what's already inside you. Start manifesting with intention. Start owning your reality. Because the moment you do, you stop being the prey. And start becoming the force no one sees coming. Now, back to the alley. Back to the echo of footsteps. The tension thick in the air. And the 5 fighters who were about to learn the oldest lesson in combat. Never judge a man by how slow he walks. Judge him by how calm he stays, when you come for him. His name was Elijah. And long before that alley ever saw his shadow, the world had tried to break him, more than once. Born in 1943. Raised in the Deep South, in a time when respect wasn't given freely to someone who looked like him. He learned early that silence could be louder than words, and that real strength was something you carried, not something you showed. At 18, he joined the military. Not for glory. Not for patriotism. For survival. He was stationed in Vietnam during one of the bloodiest stretches of the war. That's where he learned Jiu-Jitsu, not the sport version, not the point-scoring kind, but the kind designed for war. The kind that kept you alive when no one was coming to save you. By the time he returned home, he was different. Not just in the way he moved, but in the way he watched everything. Always present. Always aware. He never needed to prove anything to anyone. He didn't talk about his past. He didn't brag about what he could do. He didn't have to. And for over 40 years, he taught quietly, training students in parks, garages, and basements. Teaching them not just how to fight, but how to listen. How to wait. How to finish something before it ever truly starts. So when those 5 fighters decided to pick him as their next target, they weren't just choosing the wrong man. They were choosing a man who had trained his entire life to deal with people exactly like them. And they had no idea. By the way, if you've made it this far into the story, it means you're the kind of person who values more than just entertainment. You value truth. Depth. Power. So take a moment right now to subscribe to the channel. Because every week, we tell stories that reveal just how wrong people can be when they judge by appearances. And trust me, what's coming next in this story, you don't want to miss it. Back in the alley, the sound of footsteps grew louder. The 5 fighters had entered the corridor now. Trash cans to their left. Brick wall to their right. And standing at the far end, maybe 10 steps away, was Elijah. He had set his bag of groceries gently on the ground. Not thrown. Not dropped. Placed. Then he turned to face them. No fear. No retreat. Just presence. The leader of the group, Travis, stepped forward. Stocky build. Short buzzed hair. The kind of guy who fights angry, fast, and loud. "Hey, old man," he barked, puffing out his chest. "You lost or something?" Elijah didn't answer. Travis took another step, motioning to the others behind him. "You deaf?" I said. Still, Elijah stayed silent. Another one, thinner, meaner, leaned in with a grin. "He's probably in shock. Too old to know what's going on." The 5 spread out slightly, circling in. Not full aggression yet. Just intimidation. Testing the waters. But Elijah's breathing never changed. His hands stayed open, relaxed. His feet were rooted like he'd been standing in that exact spot for centuries. Travis frowned. "What's with the look, huh? You think we won't do something?" No response. He took one last step forward, so close now he could almost reach him. "Move out of the way, old man, before you get hurt." And finally, Elijah moved. Not his hands. Not his feet. Just his eyes. He looked straight at Travis and spoke, his voice calm, steady, almost disappointed. "Are you warning me, or yourself?" It wasn't a threat. It was a mirror. And for the first time, Travis blinked. Travis didn't know why he hesitated. Maybe it was the look in Elijah's eyes, not fear, not anger, but something worse. Certainty. Still, he couldn't back down. Not now. His boys were behind him. He had a reputation. He stepped forward and shoved Elijah in the chest, hard. The old man didn't move. Didn't even stumble. Just tilted his head, ever so slightly. Travis's smirk faltered. Then he made his move. Fast, faster than you'd expect from a man his size. His right hand shot forward, aiming for Elijah's collar. The plan was simple: grab, slam, dominate. But Elijah wasn't there. In one breath, he shifted his weight, pivoted on the ball of his foot, and with a subtle twist of his hips, Travis flew. Not stumbled. Not tripped. Flew. His body arced through the air like a sack of meat, crashing flat on his back with a sickening thud. The pavement stole the air from his lungs. He gasped, arms flailing, trying to make sense of what just happened. The others froze. Seconds passed. It didn't compute. They had sparred with world-class grapplers. They had trained against professional strikers. But this wasn't technique they'd seen before. This was something else. The silence was sharp. Derek, the tallest, broke it. "Lucky move," he said, more to himself than to anyone else. He stepped forward. His fists were up now, no more games. He threw a jab, then a second, testing the space. Elijah didn't react. He just stood, arms relaxed, weight balanced. Then the third punch came, fast and low, aiming for the ribs. And that's when Elijah moved. He dipped under the strike, his left arm wrapping around Derek's extended elbow, his right sliding up behind the shoulder. A subtle step. A smooth pivot. Snap. Derek screamed, not from a break, but from the pressure. His knees buckled, and Elijah released him before the damage was permanent. Derek crumpled to the ground, cradling his arm. Now the fear was real. The others didn't speak. They looked at each other. This wasn't fun anymore. This wasn't a joke. They had walked into something they didn't understand, a storm wrapped in silence. But ego is a powerful thing. Especially when there's more than one of you, and only one of him. So they did what cowards do when their pride is wounded. They rushed him, all three at once. Feet pounding. Adrenaline surging. Rage replacing fear. But Elijah. He stayed centered. He stepped to the side, letting the first man rush past him. The second reached for his waist, Elijah locked his wrist, spun inward, and used his own momentum to toss him into a trash bin. The third tried to grab him from behind. Bad idea. Elijah dropped his weight, grabbed the man's leg, and swept it with surgical precision. Bodies hit the ground. Groans echoed in the alley. 3 down. 2 already out. All gasping. Elijah didn't break a sweat. He stood there, watching. Not angry. Not arrogant. Just aware. 5 young men, trained fighters, now lying scattered across the alley like broken intentions. And all Elijah had done was wait. He let them come. He let them choose. And he let them fall. Because sometimes, the hardest lesson is the one you choose to learn the hard way.